Hey, we're live.
Hey,
Look at that. Got a little earlier today. Threw me off my schedule. My afternoon is like packed, packed.
well,
So
that's a good problem to have, right?
yeah, it is. We got a lot going on. So what's going on up there, my man? How are you doing?
You know what? Not doing too bad, man. Not doing too bad at all, actually. Weather's starting to get a little nicer. Our mask mandate is being removed as of March 21st.
Okay, cool.
So,
nice.
so I'm a little
Oh,
too excited about that.
it's amazing, right? How again, like when you get into when you get into this stuff and you start looking at things like mass psychosis and the slowly chipping away at the general public and leveraging that fear. It's nuts. So first, I want to thank everybody for joining us on the Kill Be Kill podcast at a different time this week. And if you're tuning in later or watching the recording, again, much appreciated. Thank you very much for finding us. As always, please put your comments down. We'll answer them. And if you want to be a guest on the podcast, I'm going to put my email in the description. Just reach out to us and tell us what you want to talk about, what you want to promote, and we will see if we can make it work and have you on. So if you're tired of us, just shooting shit, but
I'm tired of us, so.
right, exactly. So I don't know if you saw. Well, the one thing I want to talk, like again, getting back to kind of a running theme through all this stuff has been, the insanity of what's happening in the world, especially when we get to public events and things like that. So there's a couple of videos I have that we're going to look at today. Which one is going to be the basketball fans brawl at a college hoops game, and the other one which just popped up was there was a massive fight down in a soccer game in Mexico or South
Nice.
America.
Mm-hmm.
I think it happened in Mexico. It was like Mexico versus Uruguay, and I think that's it. I'll make sure we look it up. But anyway, that's where I heard reports of like 26 injured to 17 dead. But
I
that's,
believe it, man. They're crazy there.
I mean, it's interesting. Like you look at like soccer in general.
Yes.
When you get like the soccer hooligans in Europe, it's like part of that culture where they're going to the game and they're gonna get in a fight.
Yep.
Right. I mean, that's all part of it, which is funny because they talk about, if you ever read the book Hooligans, and there's the one guy who's running security for some of the World Cup is talking to the reporter talking about like the Super Bowl. And I'm like, how much, do you have the military there? No, they got a ton of security, but it's not like, massive fights and riots break out in the streets before and during games. So there's like, again, there's still human nature is human nature. We haven't evolved much past, our animals. I mean, think about it, we've only been industrialized for like maybe, was it 1800, end of the 1800s, started really industrial, moving from an agricultural society to an industrial society. But, it takes thousands and thousands of years for us to evolve as human beings. So that's still there. And then I guess when you get to a sporting event, it's very tribal. It like replaces kind of, it brings back a lot of the things, that we were associated with war.
Yes.
Right. So, we've got our team that's usually connected to a geographical location. And, when you're, when you're, when you're in these games, that's what's taking you over. And that's why you get so involved. That's also why we find them so enjoyable. And it doesn't matter apparently if it's a contact sport or if it's a skill, more of a skill sport, like soccer and basketball. Doesn't matter. People still going to fight. And it's what also amazes me is like the level of people who still can't fight. You know,
That will never change.
it's one thing when the adrenaline kicks in. I'm kind of glad that they can't fight because, at the end, I mean, yeah, they can still hurt each other, but they're not like trained in any way, shape, or form um, with any of this stuff. So, we're gonna, yeah. So, so now, I want to circle back. So mask mandates are done the 21st by you. We're done. We were done Monday, the
Okay.
7th.
We still have a few of them, like for old age homes and places like that, the prisons, if you're visiting the prisons. But that will change by the end of April. Then everything is gone by the end of April.
Okay. Yeah. And then again, why? Whatever, but it's just, it's again, it's, comes into, control. And, it starts with, there's another saying that I'm going to put into people's heads, which is, benign evil.
We don't know what started this, but it is a mess.
Sorry, I just want to get this. Okay, good. All right, so we're just going to so I'm trying to set up the clip so we know what we're doing. So yeah, so it starts as everyone, just want everyone to kind of pay attention with what happened. It started with it starts in like little increments and little bits.
Yep.
Right. Remember in the beginning, it was we're going to shut down for a couple of weeks, social distance, wear a mask, and then it was 2 weeks, turned into a couple months, turned into years, turned in closing down your business and shuttering everything. And at the end of the day, again, the people who got hurt are small business owners like us, not Amazon, Walmart, and all these large corporations that were able to supply items that people needed on a large scale. And those guys saw record numbers.
Yeah.
Obviously, pharmaceutical companies, Pfizer, Moderna. I mean, these companies saw insane numbers. So again, just be aware of what's happening. And is there anything you do about it? I don't know. I mean, people are going to get frustrated. I mean, you guys started the Freedom Trucker convoy, and then we did it down here.
Yep.
So hopefully we're coming out of this, but we get distracted by a war now. Right now we've got the war in Ukraine, and it's interesting that we get most of our gas, most of our oil, we get from Canada, like 51%. We get 8% from Russia. How that quadruples, how that doubles the price of gas is insane to me. Who's acting up, George?
Oh, that's Callie. She saw herself for the first time in the mirror.
Oh, nice.
She's gonna rip through it. That's the problem right now. I kind of got her here looking like.
Oh, hi. So I pulled up the footage. Let's take a look at the. Let's take a look at the fight. Okay, now this is an NEC title game. Let me just expand this. Okay, fight breaks out between fans. Let's see
what started this, but it is a mess.
Hasn't been a great basketball game. Brian has played fantastic in this event. And obviously,
you watch this and I mean, you're going to these things, and this is happening more and more. Especially at a college level game, there's typically younger kids there. More testosterone, less concern of ramifications. You don't have, you got a handful of security there. You usually have one security person per section, and then police. You have a few cops there, and that's really to to handle the individual that gets out of control. It's not there to maintain crowd control. For that, you need to disperse the crowd, and you need guys in riot gear and things like that. And when you're in these, large groups and that mob mentality takes over, man, you got problems.
Yeah, and this is a college game, right? College championship game.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So, you're looking at this and you're like, if you have kids, you're going to these events, and this, as we're noticing, is people, forget how to, assimilate to real world again and interacting with people. We've definitely lost the ability to do that.
Absolutely.
So, I don't think anyone was arrested as a result of this. They just broke it up. I really don't think anyone was really injured. But it was, this is just, one of those things when you're going out. I don't know. I love going to live events, but holy crap, man.
Yeah.
Is it time to just sit in TV and sit and watch it on your TV at home?
That's right. Like we've been doing for the last fucking 2.5 years.
Right. Well, I'm like, yeah. Holy crap. Yeah. So I don't know, kids. Combine that with, I don't think really anybody, especially in the younger generations, and I always sound like an oldie, but the younger generations appreciates what happens when you have physical violence.
That's right.
Right. So, we all understand, getting hit in the face hurts, getting, there's a reality for injury. You've got, they've been, it's going to be an interesting shift over the next several years. People, especially more as we move towards, like, look, the Metaverse VR. You're getting people who are, going to be socially inept in what they call the meat world, right?
Well, but and here's what's interesting too, because I was just listening to somebody talking about it. I was just talking about our mask mandate ending. You were talking about it ending for you guys, and it still continues this division between people, right? There's been this division for the past 2.5 years. Now there's going to be this division when the mask mandate is released of people who still choose to wear masks versus those who don't. And you're going to see this shit everywhere, right? So it's not going to stop. I think it's just going to progressively stay exactly where it is, if not even get worse.
Right. It's interesting. A buddy of mine is a superintendent. When they lifted the mask mandate, the parents were very concerned if their kids continue to wear masks, are they going to get bullied?
Yeah.
His response is, we have anti-bullying policies in place. So, that's a mechanism there to stop that. But, that's a real thing from the other side, because the people who don't wear masks, look at the people who wear masks and they're like, what are you doing? It's like this whole, but again, this has been a result of just increased divisiveness. There's like then there's the virtue signaling with the flag, with the flags, with the masks, and where you want to kill grandma and you're not wearing a mask. You're trying to kill me because you're not wearing a mask. And while it's been wildly, it's starting to be, it has been reported over several months that's not the case. People still are locked into it.
Of course.
And I, again, it's just, you try to be, think critically about the stuff, and you try to search for somewhere, the truth, somewhere with truth and common sense. And you still get, a lot of people who are just scared, man. A lot of people don't normally go out and interact. How many people really have been in occupations or situations where their lives are in danger?
Exactly.
Right. This may be getting worried about getting COVID for most people is probably the worst thing that's ever happened to them.
Yep.
Right. And they said like the worst thing that ever happened to you is the worst thing that ever happened to you. Right. So someone who's like, I don't know, survived war, has, survived being, injured or maimed, survived, a serious illness, compared to someone who, hasn't really done any real physical activity, hasn't really, has worked an occupation that really doesn't put them in harm's way.
Yeah, it's been sheltered from shit.
Right. And now, with social media and giving a false way to to interact with people. I mean, you're still interacting with people, but it's not real.
That's right.
And I think there's that whole say whatever you want on the internet is spilling out, has spilled out into how people start acting in real life. And when they say what they want to do, like, I don't know, there's a video going around a while about some like middle-aged type woman yelling at a grown man on a plane because he took his mask off. Meanwhile, she's yelling at him without a mask on and she hits him.
Jesus.
Right? You're like, what, have a little respect for, physical contact in another human being. But again, I believe that woman felt that her life was potentially in danger. And that's what that's what's been ground into her head. Yep. So, this is what's out there and this is what we're dealing with. And now as we're coming out of this, when we're getting in these groups, it's like the mob mentality, is getting amplified.
Yes.
So take a look at this craziness. All right. So here we go. Let me just get rid of this. Full video. All right. Come on. There we go. It's coming. I'm the worst in waiting for things. All right, so let me go back to. So, I mean, just look at that melee. The guy getting thrown over the chairs. It was so bad that they started pulling people into this field to get them out of the crowd, and then it spilled out into the crowd.
Yep.
Look at that guy with the chair. What's he thinking? I mean, think about that. You're just. I'm going to bludgeon somebody in the head with a chair. Over what? I mean, now it's on. So now you're fighting for your life. Shirts off. Oh, dude just got blasted.
Unreal.
Yeah, that dude's getting hammered.
That guy just ran in with the white shirts trying to take out everybody.
Yeah. I mean, it's just continuous, and there's no way to control it.
Yeah, what do you do when it gets to this point, right?
Right. I mean, from an individual, you get whoever you're with and get the hell out of there.
Yep.
You just get to the exits. You do not want to participate in this. There is no win here at all. It's just an all-out riot. But what happens is if somebody came up and punched you in the face, right, or attacked you, you're gonna want to do something about it.
That's right.
Right. So it's a tough. It's like if you're there with like yourself, you just get the hell out. If you're there with family and friends, it gets more complicated because you want to get them out and safe.
Yeah. Or you're there with the boys, you've had too much to drink, and now your fucking ego goes right through the roof. And
right, I mean, you're going to a game, and I mean, look at this shit. Look at this guy with the chair.
That reminds me of the old school wrestling, man.
Right. Again, I'm sure the guy with the chair's got a job. I don't know. I'm like, what are you thinking? And you got people just like stop, and he's just like, screw you, I'm going. That dude's just like, just hauling off, trying to punch him. These guys, a lot of people are leaving, but these guys are engaging, and you're stuck, by the way. The chairs, it's not designed, you're designed to exit in an orderly fashion.
This guy back here in the red looks like he's, trying to, with his father or something, thinking, holy shit, everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, let's just stay here and hopefully nobody gets to us. I mean, so let's look at this tactically, though. It's a smarter place to be because you're in the seats.
Yep.
So if anybody can get to you, there's really only two places they're coming from. The guy next to them in the blue striped shirt, he's bugging out over. He's gone.
Yeah.
This guy behind him in the black, and if you can see that. He's just ready to back up his buddy. I mean, oh yeah, that dude's done. Out.
Jesus.
Yeah. Okay, so this guy's swinging a golf club. This guy's got a piece of wood. I mean, people are animals. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I guess she's security trying to get a come along going. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I think this guy's just silly and done fighting, and he's just like, take me. He's like, okay, I'm going. Because people realize also, like, when you're in an actual fight, how exhausting.
That's right.
It gets. I mean, this guy's like, I don't know how he's punching him, but yeah, it's just, technique, all that crap goes out the window. Not that anybody would trade, but I will tell you, I'm like, I don't know, as far as the people, I'm like, I think, like, everyone thinks in, like, everyone in Japan knows, like, a martial art. I think everyone in Mexico knows how to box. I do. I'm like, it's a huge, like, boxing culture. Same thing with, like, England. Look at this guy kicking this dude, just messing this dude up, and they're pissed. Oh, I want that. And there you go. Okay, good. It's my gallery.
Awesome.
Thank you. So,
let's have a feel good moment.
Right, exactly. I don't think she was at the fight. So, yeah, man, I'm like, I don't know. This is what's out there, people. I really, I don't know.
Now we'll just wait. When was that? Did you get the date on when that was?
Yeah, it was. I'll tell you in a second. It wasn't too long ago.
So within the next week or two, we should have our buddy in Detroit, the fucking all geared up guy, doing a video on how to deal with mass brawls.
Yes. This came out. It was published on March 6th, so you're looking at March 7th. Updated, so it was about a week ago.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, this is. Oh, where you at? Sorry. There you are. Okay. Yep. This is the world we live in, everybody. This is it. You wanted it.
Yeah. We're going to Mexico.
Yeah. Right. Apparently we are. And you brought this news item up a couple weeks ago. I just wanted to this was where and this is, again, you think it, there's age attached to certain things. That's where the 14-year-old stabbed the transit worker.
Yes.
Did you hear
up in my neck of the woods?
Yeah, did you hear anything more on this or nothing?
No, you know what? I try not to follow the news as much as I possibly can, so
Yeah,
I haven't heard anything.
That's good because we have a show that talks about it. It's good. Good job. Good job.
Look, I'll get the beginning. I'll get the beginning. Forget the fucking middle. Forget the end. We'll give people the beginning of everything.
Right. So essentially, you've got a kid. It was a bus driver. It was just the kid got on the bus and he got in an argument with the bus driver. Got in an argument with like 4 or 5 people. Stopped the bus and was stabbed outside the vehicle.
Yeah, and it was over a fare.
Yeah. Right. So 14-year-old kid, yeah, had an issue with the fare and then stabbed them multiple times. He survived. Kid was arrested. But there are 2 other teens that were involved. So group of kids gets on a bus. Stuff happens. Bus driver tells him that, to get off, and then gets stabbed for all of this. I mean, you're driving a bus, dude. You're not a cop. You're not.
Just goes to show how quickly that wolf pack mentality can kick in.
Yeah, and especially with kids. Like, there's nothing more. You want to. If you have a brash like middle school kid, they will tell you exactly what they think. If you're in an argument with them, like right away. There's no holding back. But again, you can't underestimate, what you're dealing with and who you're talking to. Because again, this is a kid, this is an 8th grader, that is, committing a violent crime that could potentially kill or injure another human being.
Yep.
I don't, there's obviously some type of mental illness involved with the kid, because you really don't.
I mean, do we really think it's mental illness versus just complete fucking desensitization to violence?
Well, my question is, what's the difference?
Yeah,
right?
Well, yeah,
because that is sort of a mental illness, and I know we like to think that that the person is has been, I don't know, they're watching like video games and whatever the hell they're doing, but that's only sorry, hold on, setting up the next video. I don't know what's going on there. So so you'd think that it's like those cigarettes smoking cause cancer. It's like, no, it's not. It's like one of many factors, because there's people that smoke cigarettes that don't get cancer, right? So,
yep.
So it's one of many factors that contribute to it. It's a major factor that contributes to it. So, I think, because when you were 14, you weren't thinking about getting in an argument and like stabbing somebody.
No.
Right? I'm like, and we were still, into martial arts, and we're getting into stuff. I'm like, yeah, you thought about knife fighting, but it's always under the premise that you're being attacked, right? Not that, you're going out, and if somebody messes with you, I'm just going to stab them as many times as I can. Right? So, it's not natural. While survival instincts and defense and violence is part of human nature, there's also something in there that, and this is why civilization works, because if this wasn't the case, we'd all be going nuts and just taking what we want from people. I mean, obviously there's a repercussions component that works into it, where, well, if I do this, I'm going to get in trouble.
Yep.
Right. So that's there. But the morality thing is, like, as a species, you don't want to kill other species unless you're competing for food or breeding, right? Or shelter. I mean, that's when you That's when it comes down to it. But somehow that mechanism gets shifted to I don't have the right bus fare, so I'm gonna stab you. So to me, that just that indicates there's something something wrong with this kid. Yeah. So again, we're going places. There's people like one of the comments we got in the awareness course was like, what if the guy comes up from behind me, right? So what if you're attacked like from behind? The answer is turn around.
Yeah. Why weren't you fucking paying attention in the first place?
Well, there you go. So, you got to bring it back. I mean, I think, if you're looking for something where it's like somebody tries to come up, sneaks up behind me, gets in range and hits me in the head, the bottom line is you're getting hit in the head.
Yeah.
Right. So what happens before that? Where did that person come from? That's why we always dial it back. And this is why it's like you're paying attention to your environment. That person isn't just walking, you're not just walking by that person. That person's, generally not just walking up to you and just hitting you in the head, even though it may look like that. There's going to be some type of size up. Now, is it possible that somebody could just decide walking around, just be like, okay, screw it. Just look up, you're in front of them and they blast you?
Yep.
Yes, totally. And to be honest with you, there's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can do about that because you can't see them, so you can't react. I like to say there's something you can do about that, but there's not. But if it's something like kids doing a knockout game, you're getting, they're gonna size you up, right? So they're gonna be watching you, and if you're paying attention to your environment, you're gonna look at their body language. They're gonna be looking at you, and even if you're just making casual eye contact, most times they'll just pick somebody else because if they want to sneak up on you and they see them, they know that they're doing some stupid shit. So they're going to, one of the things they don't want to do is get caught. So what's going to happen is they're going to simply pick somebody else most of the time. I mean, there was another group did a casual survey supposedly with let's say for like they're supposed to be ex-cons, and they were sitting outside of Walmart, and they're like, who would you pick as a victim coming in? And most every time they picked the person that was staring down, not paying attention.
Yep.
Walking like, I just want to get through this and go about my day. When in reality, you have to look like a predator.
Yep.
Right? You've got to pay attention. You've got to present yourself. You have to be aware, looking around, and then look like you're ready to go. And this is like, when we talk about in the course, it's like, look, I'm going into places, I've got, hand on pepper spray. I've got, access to, a weapon, an impact weapon. You have your edge weapons on you. It's a lot of stuff. Well, yeah, it is. So, this is like, and this is what we talk about. We talk about self-defense. People, automatically think like, okay, he's punching me. Right now, I got to defend. And then it's like, well, you've missed a whole opportunity before that.
Exactly.
So, that's where, when you're getting trained, and even when you're thinking about, as soon as you start thinking about things in that way, I've had people that are like, well, I don't want to have to go out like that or think like that. Well, it's like, okay, well then, you take your chances. I'm not telling you don't interact with people, but I'm telling you, just pay attention.
Yep.
And do something. Speaking of blades, I don't know. I just picked up this thing. This is supposed to be a neck knife from this company, AJ Blades. So the knife itself, I mean, it's cool. I like these types of knives, guys. Finger knives, long enough. It fits, it fits in my hand. Again, when you're looking at neck knives and things to conceal, you have to think of these things from a grappling perspective. and this would be most likely a secondary weapon, because if it's under your shirt, you're gonna like reaching for it and grabbing it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bitch to get to.
Yeah, it's very painful. So, having things. So imagine yourself on the ground, and this person's on top of you. Now you can access it, and now you can start to defend yourself with it. So the knife itself, is fine. I mean, it's cheap. It was like not even like, I don't even think it was like $30. It's got a good edge to it too. Haven't like tested it yet on the cardboard, stabbing it, but I will. But I can tell by experience that it's going to feel fine. It fits in the hand fine, and we're good. The only problem I have with it is supposed to be a neck knife, and it doesn't have any. It didn't come with any necklace.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have a hole in it. So in order to really make it a neck knife, I've got to drill this thing and then get some type of lanyard for it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know so much about. It's got this sheath has this little button on it. I think this is what kind of holds it in place.
Yeah.
But and it has the plastic finger loop. Like, this is a problem. See this loop here? It's plastic and fixed to the sheath. So when you grab this and put your finger in it, you're really just grabbing the whole sheath and pulling it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a problem. This should be cut off. And this would be able to fit into it. I don't know why this is here. So in order to make this work, see, yeah, now this is a locking mechanism to it, and that's a problem. And this is why it's a fail. This is a good knife. This is a crappy sheath. All right, because again, you want to be able to grab this and not do any. See, like things like this. Like, this is a finite motor skill.
Yes.
Or it's a fine motor skill. Finite is wrong word. So this is a fine motor skill. So when you're under stress, sitting here grabbing this, you're going to put your finger through it, and it's going to be difficult. So
and add to that it's in a secondary location. Yeah,
it's not a good design. I'll try to figure out what I'm going to do with this, but the sheathing on this is no bueno, kids. So Tom just jumped on. Hey, Tom, good to see you. Yeah, we started a little early today. I have a big afternoon planned. Okay, so self-defense fun, kids. Just in time, Tom. So we've got a rear bear hug defense. Share. Okay. I turned the music off. Okay, we can see that.
Oh.
Okay, George, take it away.
You know what? I don't even know where to start with this. I don't even know where to start.
I mean, first of all, dude, like, they're definitely like in shape people that they definitely are training in something. But again, this is like,
no.
Yeah. So this isn't a bear hug. This is a first. Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
The attack.
That's just more of a love grab.
Yeah. So if you're getting bear hugged by somebody, it's going to be a violent. I'm looking at that dude. He looks sinewy and shredded and athletic. If he's like taking somebody down or bear hugging them, they're either doing it to restrain you, or they're doing it to take you to the ground.
Yeah. And
right?
I mean, look at her body language, right? She's not being pulled backwards. She's not being pitched forward, right? She's just in one spot.
Right. And the under the arms grab is more or less kind of a sporting move. So you see how he goes underneath, and he goes up and he's like sliding his arms underneath. It's really going to be this big grab over the top.
Yes.
All right? So let's say we do this underneath. So this guy's wrestling, you know, maybe he's a wrestler, maybe if he's a wrestler and someone does that, and they feel comfortable enough doing that in the real world, you're going to have problems.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what you're going to do, I mean, so the attack itself is ridiculous.
That's right.
Doing this in a wrestling scenario, if you're in sport, it's still, you know, you're going to be moving and hitting she's going to be putting her hips out and putting stress against that grip. Reaching the arm underneath, if someone who's bear hugging you, it's going to be tight. It's going to be very, very, very difficult to do.
Yeah, she's not even going to slide it down in the fucking first place, let alone slide under.
Right. So again, especially if she's upright too, if she's got her hips out, extended away from his body, she might be able to get underneath this. But this doesn't even work in wrestling, because what you're doing is you're pinning your arm and then you go to the ground and you're kind of fucked because now your arm's trapped. And that's what he wants. You can grab that and control the arm with a one-on-one or a gable grip. So one, you know, the attack is unrealistic. Two, even in a wrestling situation, it wouldn't really work. And three, that arm lock is beyond weak. I mean, again, God bless her, you know, I get it, but it's not even really. See how he's naturally rotating out of it. Like when you get to the end, so look at it, he moves his feet and he comes out. There's no pressure on that. You can't hold that. That only works if you got it really pinned and really cranked up, like to his head. And even then, you know, you need pressure down on the head to drive his head into the ground, like you were doing a come along. But the hand going up in the air, you know, no bueno, no pressure.
I mean, let's just pretend that she was actually able to get the arms down. Let's pretend that she was able to slip under. Let's pretend she was able to get behind. You get behind at that point, dicking around with any kind of fucking lock. You know what? Just smash him in the fucking brainstem a few times. A few hammer fists dropping down.
Right.
Now you got something.
Yeah, right. At least you'll know that'll work.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
but again,
where's she gonna go with this? Like, what's the next step now? What are you gonna do now, sweetheart?
Forever. You're gonna break his arm, which you can't because he's extending it out. And this is the thing where he's compliant.
Yeah.
She hasn't done anything to him to break his, you know, to really get him to comply. Nothing. No striking, no anything. So, you know, no one's going to let you take their arm.
Not a chance, no.
You know, unless they're your boyfriend and you're in your apartment.
Yeah, shooting a self-defense video to try and look good.
Yes, right. Yeah. So as Tom puts out, you know, they'll like try to, you know, they're going to either lift you up, pick you up, slam you down, take you down the ground, hold you there for somebody to, you know, hit you. Or if you're being restrained, let's say, you know, you're in a fight and, you know, somebody wants to pull you off of somebody. Again, at that point, your best bet anyway, if you're bear hugging, is to, you know, go over the arms.
Yep. Over
the arms.
Even better if you can go around the neck.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes.
No
around
problem.
The neck is awesome. All right. You sent me the self-defense song.
I did, because it put me in such a great mood listening to it.
All right, man. I'm all in. Let's share this and share this with everybody.
I'm wondering if she gets a little royalty on this shit.
Right. Okay. So she recommends all girls and take self-defense. So.
Something moving, there's someone put their hands on you, and they should. No one there to help you. Self-defense you use, you're stronger than you think. If you just know where to bruise, friends against your safety, friends against your life. You must defend yourself if it means that you will survive. So get him in the head, and get him in the butt. Get him in the gut, and get him in the nut. Get him in the head, get him in the butt. Get him in the gut. You gon' smash them nuts. Bitch better beware of. Bitch better beware of. Bitch better beware of. Bitch better beware of. In the head, in the butt, in the gut. Bitch better beware. Bitch better beware. Bitch better beware. Bitch better beware. The head, the butt, the gut, and the nut. The head, the butt, smash that nut.
Ow! Let's go!
How do you defend yourself? A woman.
All right, that was fun, man.
That was.
That was great. That was great. You know, again, she's really hitting the butt and the gut. You know, but and then she said the nut because it fit better, and that it works for me.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that works for me. That was good. Very good.
I'm telling you, you're not gonna be able to get that out of your fucking head now. For the rest of the night, you're gonna be singing that. I'm
good. Go,
sorry, everyone.
Into it. It's good shit. Good shit. You got time.
We spend all this time talking about targets, all in fucking module 1 there. We're going through it. You didn't need to do that. Now it's just head, butt, gut, nut.
Right. I love it. Well, 2 out of 4 ain't bad.
That's right.
Okay, here's our here's our this guy's like, for all we're trolling him, I hope he's
I love this guy.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. So, we're trolling Deputy Dog. I hope, I hope we, again, I hope he's doing something. I hope, life's good for this guy. I do. I mean, granted, he's teaching crap, but
I don't know, man. This guy's got like a bajillion fucking hits, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually bringing in some money from this shit.
I'm sure he is. Sure he is. What are we doing wrong?
Take the pads of your fingers here. You're actually gripping it and pulling.
Ha!
Take the pads of your fingers here. You're actually gripping it and pulling.
Yes.
Yes, Ghostface.
Take the pads of your fingers
That's
here.
awesome.
You're actually gripping it and pulling.
Yeah.
Take the pads of your fingers here. You're actually gripping it and pulling.
Exactly. Taking the pads of your fingers. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Take the
Exactly.
pads of your fingers here. You're actually gripping it and pulling.
Yeah. So that's the reality, right? I mean, somebody gets close to you. I mean, they're just going to keep dragging and dragging. The only thing is, you're probably, unless it gets a lung, or your kidney, or like a blood soak, or where like blood pressure drops, or you can't breathe, you still be able to fight. I mean, that dude with the fucking rifle, were you paying attention to?
How did you miss fucking Ghostface coming at you?
Ghostface doesn't like trigger any type of warning.
That's right. Jesus.
Oh my God. But again, the pads of your fingers and things like that. There's only, as far as grabbing the knife, we do teach that. In some, look, if someone's stabbing you and you grab the knife, you just grab the knife, right? So you try not to get your thumb involved, but to be honest,
It's probably going to happen.
It's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And you're just doing that because you're sacrificing your hand so it doesn't, plunge it into you. And if they pull it back, whatever. I mean, at least we're following it up with other strikes and other attacks. But this whole, think about it. Someone's trying to stab you, right? Someone's trying to do that to you.
Yeah.
Are you going to be like, oh, my pads on my fingers, and try to grab anything, like this, against the hand? This is not doing anything. You're, breaking it down. I mean,
I love him.
You have to reflect, against reality, right? With what's happening. At some point, you've got to just be like, oh, let me take a look at that. And even by yourself, it's not, that's all well and good. But again, grabbing the weapon and then repeatedly hitting them. So for a brief moment, they stop thinking about you, about stabbing you and killing you, and they're reacting because at least if you have this hand, listen, it's a fight, but you want to stop the most dangerous thing first.
Yep.
Right? And that's the weapon, and you got to clear it, get rid of it, and then always attack the man and that's it. Because, you know, with a weapon, with an edge weapon, I mean, the slashes and things, okay, but we're really concerned with getting stabbed, right? And having them plunge it into us. So in order to do that, you've got to bring it back and then thrust it forward with a considerable amount of force. You know, and if you practice like we do in Module 9 with the cardboard, and you know, when we field test this shit, that's why, you know, this is why we do that, so you can actually feel, you know, what it takes to put something into somebody if, you know, God forbid you had to. Yeah, but again, this guy just is nonstop, man.
The next time that you're shooting edged weapon defense, you got to put Pete in a ghost face mask now.
100%. Now that the new Scream is out, which was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it.
It was
good. I enjoyed it. Did you see the new Batman yet?
I haven't seen the new Batman. No, is it worth seeing?
It's good. I liked it. It was, you know, it kept my interest.
Okay.
So yeah, it was good. I mean, I would say like the best Batman though has got to be it's got to be like Christian Bale. You know, as far as like the actor that did it now is the dude from Twilight.
I never saw Twilight.
Yeah, well, it's because you're not a 14-year-old girl.
That's right.
So, you know, that guy was good. He was fine. But yeah, like the Bale, I think that series still is the best. I mean, that origin one, Batman Begins.
Yeah,
that was a freaking great movie. It really was. So last video we're gonna go through today. Okay, this is a front choke. Let's see if this is all right. Let's see, we're ready. Okay, we're good. Okay, she's against the wall, standing there. Another rough-looking dude, you know, in front of her.
Rendu à cette position ici, qu'est-ce que je peux faire pour sortir?
Okay.
Si tu penses que tu vas être capable de sauter seulement en frappant et en amenant tout ton corps, fais-le, mais il y a une façon idéale pour le faire. Tu vas toujours frapper contre un pouce, seulement un pouce, parce qu'un pouce est toujours moins fort que 4 doigts. Donc, tu vas frapper et amener tout ton corps avec pour que la puissance soit totale. Mais si tu n'es pas capable, si tu n'arrives pas à sauter, qu'est-ce que tu peux faire? Tu vas placer une main ici, vraiment fort, tu vas le tenir fort, l'autre sur son coude, et ça vient, tu mets la pression sur son coude. Maintenant que tu le contrôles, tu peux partir à courir.
You know, I have said it time and time again. Everything will always work against that zombie choke, won't it?
Right. Well, and again, he's really not trying to do anything. But, you know, the first thing, knocking the hand off, I mean, that's fine. But to be honest, like if you went in with just an attack and a strike,
yep,
just on the offhand, which you're going to naturally do because this hand being up is gonna block your path from doing that. So you're gonna come in to the other side. Even if you struck at him and try to hit him in the face, even if he's all extended out like that, again, which is a ridiculous, unless he's sitting there jacking you up, you know, and he's looking to intimidate you. I mean, if he's gonna bang your head off, you know, that pin is gonna follow up with a strike. Right? Yep. Or stab or something. So that's not the initial attack. That's the beginning of the real attack, like we always say. But even just popping the hand off, okay, you know, I'm not, whatever. I mean, yeah, get the hell off me, right? If this is somebody, you know, the drunk brother-in-law kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, where you're like, I don't want to hit you, just get off me, right? That armbar is ridiculous.
Yes.
No way she does that. And the fact that somebody's telling her that this is okay for you to do this is ridiculous. But this is like, you know, typical, you know, sporting kind of, you know, thing where someone's thinking about, you know, what they could do and making up a situation.
Yeah, I'm really glad we have these, you know, MMA fucking guys and gals trying to teach us all about self-defense.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's no different than anybody, like, you know, boxers or wrestlers, right? I mean, it's like, or karate, it's like you're using your sporting knowledge, it's like if you had a hammer, everything in the world would look like a nail.
Yep.
Right. So, they're using what they're learning here and trying to apply it to some situation where it really just doesn't belong. Again, that initial choke, it's really, if someone is doing that, they're probably pinning you to punch you in the face or stab you.
Yeah.
Right. So then we really don't have to worry too much about the offending appendage, on our throat. We do have to worry about is, attacking that person and that other side of their body that's coming in.
But I will say, of all the different videos that we've ripped apart and the techniques and everything, at least she put her body into that strike against his arm, unlike the other ones who just do techniques with like zero body movement. So kudos to her for that.
Right. Yeah, she's moving, and of course, I just, you get these things, and you're like, and if you don't know, you would say, okay, that would work. And that was like where I spent the majority of my young martial arts life.
Yep.
Right. We would learn these types of techniques, and they would be like, yeah, okay, this would, and they're like, yeah, if someone does that, I'm going to do that. If someone does do that. I mean, also, even to have the presence of mind in the context of an actual assault, or her boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever, is, losing their shit, you're going to be like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And your response is going to be so much more visceral and aggressive, and even if the hand comes in, if you know that, you'll be like, get off me, like right away.
Yeah.
The problem with that is, again, if this is somebody it's one thing, but if it's somebody you don't know or just met, you're going to want to have a more aggressive, direct response, which is, attacking their face and trying to rip their head off their body. But the guy, I mean, look, come on, man. It's just, again, everything works in the dojo. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everything works in the dojo. So, yeah. So on that note, just moving forward, we're going to be doing something. I'm going to be playing around with this idea called self-defense test. So what we're going to be doing is taking like really popular self-defense techniques and actually trying them, and if they work, great, and if they don't, we're going to show you exactly what else, what what would give you your best chance in that situation. So I know you pulled a lot of stuff off the interwebs yesterday for me. Thank you very much. And yeah, so what's your plans this weekend?
You know what? This weekend, more family time, man.
Yeah.
that's pretty much what it's going to be. On the bright side, mom's been doing pretty well, which has been good. She had her CT scan yesterday, so we'll have results tomorrow to see if the chemo's been helping at all. So
okay, yeah,
that it hasn't. Hopefully, it hasn't been spreading more. I mean, that's all I want. It's slowing down the spread.
Yeah, right.
So
I mean, I got to go see my buddy Chris. Just got a benign tumor underneath his cheek.
Okay.
So interesting enough, he started like doing the feeding protocol that I've been using, and he dropped like 30 pounds. And then all of a sudden, he noticed he had this thing on his cheek. So he literally like went face off.
Yeah.
And he was in surgery for about 4 or 5 hours yesterday. They think they got everything. They think the nerves are fine. So yeah, I'm gonna probably go see him. And still working on. The backpacks are all in and out the door. May have a line on. No, in fact, I do have a line on another supplier, which may speed things along a bit.
Okay.
So that's good. Content still in play. Changing a new Facebook advertiser and meeting with new guys today. So I had another company in the beginning of the end of December this last year, and they spent like 3 months and kind of got like 2.5 months and kind of got like nothing done.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a good time. So like this afternoon, like at 1, meeting with an influencer, and then 2, meeting with another platform for advertising. So, yeah, a lot of things, just kind of keeping everything moving up the hill and, getting that, back to where it needs to be. I mean, we got basically what's happened is we got to a certain point and we just needed to grow beyond that point.
Yeah.
And so now we're trying to get, really trying to find someone and some things to just get us beyond ourselves. Because I know, this threshold, once we get there, we're rolling. And I said,
Yeah.
got
It's like hitting that fucking weight loss plateau, right? And just waiting
Right.
for that little thing that's going to push you through it.
right. And there may be a good chance that all the switchblades will be sold by next week.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you didn't get one yet, get them. We'll have some first responders in stock. And we're actually checking. We actually lowering the profile of that by a couple, like 2.5 inches.
Okay.
I mean, one of the complaints on it was just really big and bulky, so now it's just a little more streamlined. You still be able to fit like laptop clothes and crap in it, and med supplies and stuff like that, but it's just not as big as before.
Yeah.
That we made. We're just upgrading some of the hardware on it, zippers, which were fine, but we're just going like top of the line type stuff and zippers and buckles and things like that. So, yeah, and that's just like what happens when you go through like the third and fourth iteration of a project. I mean, of a product. I mean, dude, like when we first started this 2 years ago, I don't know if you remember the first round of backpacks. The samples worked fine, but then the production ones, like the rip cords ripped off.
Yeah, I remember that.
Dude, I was literally on a podcast doing a demo and the thing fucking flew off. And then we were having a little issue with it getting stuck on deploying. So we added some cuts in the mouth so it just opens easier.
Yep.
And then we had an issue where it was full and you're wearing it, the center magnet would come apart. So we replaced that with a magnet snap.
Yeah.
So that stays shut now and it deploys fine. Again, with this thing, you just need to make sure you want to have your shoulder straps snug when you deploy it. Belt doesn't have to be that snug. Sometimes it doesn't have to be on. But we also added some extra Velcro to the back of the ripcord. So when you do pull it, even though the front pad has padding to it, it works. Obviously, there's not a problem with the first responder, but with the switchblade, there's like padding on like the ends of the belt.
Mm-hmm.
So if your waist is larger, it won't hit it. So what we did is we took the rip cords. Oh shit, but took the rip cords, and you'll be able to attach them to those things as well. So all in all, good. Really good. So just slow. I should give a fucking TED talk on this shit. I mean, to talk about like all the obstacles that we've overcome in the last like 12 years, let alone the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we went from like 3 years ago, like the training platform. First, I'm like, the training platform was like built. It was like hodgepodge together.
I remember.
Yeah, so I would explain it like, if you have like multiple people worked on this thing, and it's like when you did if you built a house and had like 4 different contractors come in, and then each contractor talks shit about the last guy. Oh, he did it wrong. Oh, that guy did it wrong. Oh, that guy did it wrong. The reality is people have their own view of stuff. And then, or there's people that do like 3/4 of a job.
Yes.
Right. And then they have their own view, and they have their own view of the world. So they wind up, coming in and doing their thing, and they don't fix the last thing. So I will say shout out to my boy Bill Hogsett down at Sayota, who, really, I was getting estimates to rebuild the site for like 60 grand, 100 grand. He did it for like 12 grand and in like 4 weeks. And I was a lucky son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I was lucky. And then, with the armor, I started with the company in Israel. We partnered. Then they, we came up with the design. I patented the design in the US. They wound up, they saw I sold like 70 bags in like the first couple weeks. and then they had a PR thing, and then they started selling it, and they weren't supposed to. So then that was a 3-year process to design the bag, have it built, and then get products done, and then the whole fucking thing, man. This has been like, every day
It's been a journey.
something else. And even now it's like everything gets pushed back 2 days, 3 days, a week, and then you keep looking for new opportunities. All I can say is like survive in advance. You figure out how to do stuff. Thought I was going to be flat ass broke, several times, at least 2 or 3 times a year, right? And then something happens and something works, and then you get a little bit farther and push the ball down the road. So when I compare where we are from now to where we are from last year, I'm like, last year we really didn't even have, we only had the first responder in stock. It wasn't perfect. We didn't even have it in stock. That shit didn't come in until June.
Yeah.
So right now we've got 2 models in stock, on the precipice of selling like the remaining like 500 we have in stock of the Switchblade. And then I've got a new supplier lined up where it's going to be easier to get, less money on shipping. Like infinitely less money on shipping, which allows me to get better pricing, not only to our customers but to our distributors. So yeah, guys, like I'm going to say is like, you want to do something, I'm like, everything's going to tell you no. I know you hear this shit, but it's like, I'm living it. I've lived it. You just got to figure out a way to make it work. If you can get a couple people to see what you're doing, and if you can explain it, in, 2 sentences, 3 sentences, and you can give somebody to give you something for it, then don't stop.
Yeah.
Don't freaking stop and just keep going, because, it's like the people who fail are the people who stop.
Yeah.
Right. So, I just want to, end with, those, that little bit of, wisdom from half a century on the planet. Yeah, man. So the tap out thing is like, there's 2 sayings that sticking in my head. One was from Tap Out with that brand. It was like, every day I fight.
Yeah.
And the other one is like, your hardest day, the hardest thing you went through was the hardest thing you went through. So, you think about when you're a kid and, you lost your toy, you're freaking out.
Yep.
But then when, a couple years later, you lose your toy, like, oh yeah, I lost my toy. Okay, I think I can find it, or it'll turn up, or something, right? It's all perspective. As life lumps. Crap, that's right, Mike. The easiest day was yesterday. That's the SEALs slogan. I love that one.
Nice.
Easiest day was yesterday, brother. So yeah, man, it's a fight. I want to again thank everybody for listening. George, thank you very much for your time. We'll probably be back at the regular time next week. Everybody who's getting their bodyguards finally, thank you so much for waiting. I appreciate it. Angel and we appreciate it so much. We still have a couple in stock. If you go to bulletproofbodyguard.com, there's a link underneath. We're looking for guests. So if you want to be on, you got something to talk about, cool. Email us. I'll put that in the description. Yeah, and that's it. Of course, there's a free training course underneath. You can go take the free Combatives course with us. If you want to check us out, see what we do, if we're just not talking the shit that we're talking. So again, thank you very much, everybody. And until next time, train honestly.